reciprocity rate percent. So, what do you want to do now? Katie asked. Joe put his arms around her and said, well, part of me wants to spend the rest of the day making love to you. Katie smiled and said, I bet I know which part. What does the rest of you want to do? It's a big city, Joe said. You must know some fun things to do around here. Maybe you can be my tour guide. I know a place you might like, Joe. Bring your camera. Joe grabbed his camera bag, and they got in Katie's car. After a short drive, they were on the highway heading away from the city. I hate to tell you, but the city is behind us, Joe said. Where are you taking me? You'll see, Katie said. I think you will like it. About 20 minutes later, they pulled into the parking lot, and Joe said, The zoo? You brought me to the zoo? Are you disappointed? Absolutely not. This is great. I haven't been to the zoo in ages. So I guess I'm getting to know you, Katie said. It would seem that you are, Joe said. He leaned over and kissed Katie. He then grabbed his camera bag from the back seat, took out his camera, an extra battery, and an extra memory card. Then they headed inside. The weather had warmed to the lower 40s, and all the snow in and near the zoo had melted. They first saw the penguins, who seemed to be enjoying the weather. One was swimming back and forth as fast as it could swim. It jumped out of the water on each pass like it was playing. Joe got a kick out of it, set his camera for video, and filmed the playful behavior. Are you having fun? Katie asked. Of course, Joe said. This was a good choice. I don't know what it is about zoos, but it makes me feel like a kid again. I guess it is because my parents often took me to the zoo when I was young. What did you like best when you were a child? Katie asked. I liked everything, but if I had to choose one, I would say the bears. Well, let's go see the bears, Katie said. Lead the way, my dear. They held hands and looked for a sign pointing to the bear enclosure. They soon found it and walked in that direction. They came upon the polar bear enclosure first. A large male polar bear was pacing back and forth. Joe snapped several photos and then said, Amazing creatures. Did you know polar bears are the largest carnivores on land? They are even bigger than grizzly bears. Back in the 60s, I went to Canada to photograph them. Some of those photos ended up in National Geographic. I think I still have the issue. I'd love to see your photographs, Joe. When we get back to your place, I want to spend time learning about your life. I bet you have some interesting stories. Maybe you will even show me your scrapbook. I think I am at a point now where I feel comfortable sharing everything with you. I'm sure I could tell you a few stories that won't bore you too much. I'm sure you could, Joe. Right now, my stomach is telling me a story about how hungry I am. They found a restaurant with better food than expected for a zoo. Joe got a salad with apples and Wisconsin cheese, among other things. Katie got an Italian sandwich. They sat inside at one of a dozen or so picnic tables. Thank you for bringing me here, Katie. This is a great place to come and unwind. I'm glad you are happy, Joe. I'm happy just being with you, Joe said. I would have been just as happy staying home with you, Katie, but now we have created a new memory together. 30 years from now, we can bring our grandkids here and tell them about our first trip to the zoo together. We certainly couldn't tell them about our day together at your apartment if we had stayed there. Grandkids? Katie said. Do you expect that we will have grandkids together? Well, I said that in passing. I didn't really think about it, but who knows what the future will bring. But you've already raised your kids. Do you want to go through that again? You say that like children are a burden. Do you not want kids, Katie? I do, I think. I don't know. I mean, I just started this new job. How would I possibly juggle work and kids? You should do what brings you joy, Katie. For me, my children gave me more joy than anything I did for work. But you are not me. That is something you need to think about. Okay, but not today. Right now, we should think about seeing the chimpanzees. They spent another couple of hours visiting all the exhibits. As they left the zoo, Joe asked, What do you want to do now? Would you mind if we just pick up a pizza and go home? I know we had pizza the other night, but that was a good night, wasn't it? Are you kidding? I would give my right arm to repeat that night. Knowing you, it would probably grow back, Katie said. They called in the pizza order and picked it up on the way to Katie's apartment. Joe had it on his lap while Katie was waiting for several cars to go by so she could pull out of the parking lot. Joe noticed it first. "The black Corvette! There it is!" he shouted as it went by. "Follow it." Katie had her blinker on to turn left, but quickly switched it to right and pulled out onto the street. There was a blue sedan between them and the Corvette. After about a mile, the Corvette turned left, and Katie followed. When the car reached 23rd Street, it turned right. Katie kept her distance. When the car reached the Williams' apartment, it slowed to a crawl and then sped up again. It parked in front of the apartment owned by Captain McKay. Katie parked on the street near the center of the block. The last bit of twilight hung in the distant sky. Most of the light came from a nearby street lamp. They watched someone get out of the car and walk into the apartment building. It looked like a woman, but the distance and poor lighting made it difficult to tell. "At least we have something to eat," Joe said as he opened the box. "Perfect," Katie said. "Give me a piece. Oh, and there are napkins in the glove box." "I put them in there after the boiled peanut incident." Joe opened the glove box, took out a couple of napkins, set a slice of pizza on top of them, and handed it to Katie. He then did the same for himself and closed the box. Katie took a bite of pizza and after she swallowed it, said, "This is pretty cool. I've never been on a stakeout before." "This is my first, too," Joe said. "I guess this is another first for us." "We are racking up firsts this week," Katie said before taking another bite of pizza. They both finished their first slice of pizza, and Joe had the box open, preparing to get another piece when Katie said, "Something's happening." Joe closed the pizza box and put it in the back seat. They watched the person come out of the apartment building and walk down the sidewalk towards them. It soon became clear it was a woman when she walked under the street lamp. She was of average build and looked to be in her early to mid-50s. Her blonde hair was tied behind her head. When she got close, Joe leaned over and kissed Katie. Katie kept one eye open and saw the woman briefly look into the car as she passed. They stopped kissing when the woman had passed and looked back at her. She must have assumed they were teenagers making out because she kept walking without looking back. They continued watching the woman and saw her enter the apartment building belonging to the Williamses. "What do you think she is doing?" Katie asked. "I have no idea," Joe said. Prosody. "Do you think she knows someone who lives there? It would be odd if she did, but who knows? Maybe she's casing the place," Katie said. "Maybe she wants to know the layout so she can know where to hide and shoot David when he shows up." "I think you are on to something, Katie, but not to shoot David. She would have no way of knowing when he would show up." "What then?" Katie asked. "I don't know. Maybe some kind of booby trap. I just can't imagine how that would work, though." A few minutes later, the woman walked out of the apartment building and headed back toward them again. When she got close, Joe kissed Katie again until she passed. They watched her until she got into her car and drove away. "Well, that was weird," Katie said. "It sure was." "I enjoyed my first stakeout with you," Katie said, "especially the kissing part." "I like that part, too," Joe said. "I bet most cops don't have stakeouts that good." "Let's have another piece of pizza and then make out some more," Katie said. "Another wonderful idea," Joe said as he reached for the pizza box. By the time they returned to Katie's apartment, they couldn't contain their passion any longer. They slowly left a trail of clothing behind them as they made their way toward the bedroom. This audiobook continues on the next video. For more information on this book and others by this author, please visit charleshuss.com.